with the clerk, coupled with the fact that we are tomorrow is the State of the Nation and they need to prepare the chamber. So we agree to do 3-3 and leadership. I ran that with the.
So how many minutes is each leader speaking? How many minutes is each member speaking? Honourable members, I need to be guided.
Speaker, 2-2 leadership will conclude, please.
Mr. Speaker, that's not the agreement. The agreement, I have run it with the majority leader. And Chief Whip, there have been a lot of walk-ins before you came in. So, with respect, please, we agree, and we've already presented our lift to the
So now
Speaker.
guide me about.
So, Speaker, is 3-3 and leadership. So,
how many minutes? Is it 5 minutes?
Yes.
So
Speaker,
I will urge the timekeepers 5 minutes. Yes, beginning with the honourable member who is seconding the motion. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the report of the Joint Committee of Finance and Economy and Development. I will therefore entreat all and sundry, all members here, to adopt this report and approve this policy, that is Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy 2026 to 2028. Mr. Speaker, this policy has come at the right time, very right time, where the other two drivers of our economy is not doing well in the world market. I'm talking about our oil and our golden bean, that is the cocoa. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the prices of these two commodities are volatile and undetermined. And therefore, this policy will save the situation. Mr. Speaker, when we implement this all-important policy,
if you're here to turn up with Talisa, let me see your hand up in the sky tonight. Listen. Okay. We are about to turn it up.
Yeah, this is insane.
We are about to turn it up, people. Bounce. Everybody, let me see you.
and the most important aspect of it, that we should all be happy, is that by the year 2028, the import cover will reach 15 months of import cover. 15 months of import cover, which is 1 year, 3 months. Mr. Speaker, if you have economy like this, that international gross national reserves is about 15 months of import cover of goods and services, then you are good to go. You are good to go. Mr. Speaker, this gold for reserve that we want to intensify gave us $13.83 billion US as our reserves in 2025. It covers 5.7 months of import cover. Mr. Speaker, this has improved the investor confidence in the country. Exchange rate stability, reduce the reliance of external borrowing. So, Speaker, this is a good policy we should all agree to adopt and approve. Mr. Speaker, The policy is structured to trace all gold. Yes. Trace all gold that we bought in the country. Trace all gold. Yes, traceability of gold will be done within
Honourable member, you have 1 minute more.
Mr. Speaker, by so doing, I will employ all members, especially from our side, from the other side. You are not here, from the minority side, to adopt this report and approve the policy so that we cannot grow our economy of Ghana to a certain height in this country. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Kojo Opon-Nkrumah.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the report that has been laid. I want to start off by quoting a statement that was made by the former Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, at the launch of the NPP's manifesto in 2024. Mr. Speaker, he says that, and this is when he was giving an update on the performance of the Gold for Reserves and Gold for Forex program in the recent crisis, where the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold the domestic gold purchase program and the gold for oil program. The pilot has worked for a number of companies, some of which wanted to take Forex out of the jurisdiction. We have thus found a solution to profit repatriation without destabilizing our local currency. He goes on to say that, Mr. Speaker, my government will completely institutionalize what I call the Gold for Forex program, even as we intensify efforts to transform the structure of the Ghanaian economy. Simply put, the domestic gold purchase program is a policy which allows the Bank of Ghana to boost its foreign exchange reserves by buying locally produced gold with cedis. And he goes on to talk about the benefits, including the fact that gold will now become the anchor of the Ghanaian currency. Mr. Speaker, earlier today when we met the Finance Ministry, the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board, we put a question to the governor who was represented by the second deputy governor. Is the policy to buy gold, to shore up our reserves, be it in bullion or in Forex, new? And her answer was categorical. She said, no. Mr. Speaker, it is a matter of public record that in 2021, the MPP administration came up with the domestic gold purchase program, which seeks to ramp up our reserves by using cedi to buy gold and shore up our bullion reserves, or by using cedi to buy gold, trade it for Forex, and add it to our Forex reserves. Mr. Speaker, if therefore a couple of years down the line, our colleagues on the NDC side come to power and they find this policy useful, they don't need to attempt to rebrand it and give it a new name as a Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy. They don't need to do that. What they need to do is to be candid to the Republic of Ghana and say, we inherited a working program. And probably what we want to do is to build on it. You need candor in economic policy management. Don't try to rebrand it, give it a new name, polish it with some colors, and now create the impression that it is something new that you are thinking about. Mr. Speaker, we asked the government side today what the two pillars of this gold component are. And they told us that they will be using cedi to buy gold to add to the bullion, and using cedi to buy ASM gold, trade it for Forex, and add to Forex. Mr. Speaker, that is gold for reserves and gold for Forex. You can turn it, you can bake it, you can cook it. It is still the same thing. So, Mr. Speaker, we on this side will support this policy because what they have done is to continue what was introduced by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, we encourage them that today's voter is sophisticated and understands what's going on. When you introduced the commitment controls, we have commended you that it is actually a good policy. You don't need to go on with this thing where every time settings. Admit it that this is a program you inherited and you are continuing. Mr. Speaker, the second point I want to make is that what this government has now announced as a policy demonstrates the confusion in their circles. A few weeks ago, this government told us that they were of the view that we had so much gold concentration in our reserves, and so they have sold 50% of our gold reserves and converted it into US dollar-based assets. Mr. Speaker, there are questions about that transaction already, the timing, the scope, and the window with which it was done. And already we have filed motions to have that transaction and then the losses on the gold purchase program properly investigated, without prejudice to whatever the outcomes will be. They have now come back to this House that they are asking for policy approval to go and, among other things, buy more gold to shore up our reserves. Why would you sell 50% of our gold reserves only to turn around a few weeks later that you want policy approval to go and buy more gold? And by the way, at the time they sold the gold, prices were around $4,000. By now, it's somewhere around $5,200. So already we have lost about $1,000 an ounce on the quantum they sold.
Honourable Member, your time is up. I will proceed to give the floor to Honourable Richard Achampong.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the report before us. My good friend Honourable Kojo Oponkroma used to call on government to submit policy document before this House. Today, the document is presented before this House and he has a cause to complain. So, Honourable Kojo Oponkroma, you can't choose and pick. Mr. Speaker, within these few years or months, Gold Bond has raked in about $10 billion. They used to borrow Eurobond at the rate of average 6%. Assuming we took a loan of $10 billion, we would have paid $600 million as an interest. And there's no interest on it. This is a forward-looking government. It is projected that by the end of 2028, gold price will soar up. So what do? Let's take advantage now. So that we'll bring the policy document, the House will approve of it, and even if they want to liquidate it, they have to go through cabinet and come to parliament for approval. They can't sit in the office and take any decision. You did not do that. And they yet they started this program. What was the end result? What was the level of the appreciation or the depreciation of the cedi? You implemented all these policies, but the end game was zero. The end game was zero. You let inflation 23.8%. Today it's 3.8%. The cedi has appreciated more than 40%. Instead of patching up at the back, you are here trying to run down the program. And Mr. Speaker, it's not only the gold. If you check the document presented to her by the minister talked about gas to power program, oil development program, cocoa reforms initiatives. All these things are going to put together to make sure we see a stability. When we were going for the elections, dollar was exchanged at 17 Ghana cedis. 17. It came down to 16. At the time, if you needed $10,000 or $1,000, you need 17,000 Ghana cedis. Today you will need 11,000 Ghana cedis. 6,000 difference. This is forward-looking government. So, Mr. Speaker, it's not about being opposition and you have to criticize everything that the government is doing. Let's give credit when it is due. Tell us that you could not do it. But thank God there's a new government in place which is looking forward, which is putting in place measures that will yield positive results. Today, if you go to the pump, they don't ask you if you're an NDC or MPP card bearer. When you are buying fuel, look at it. Prices of goods and services have dropped. This is what we are talking about. This is the restructuring agenda we promise the good people of this country. So please, if you come fight them, you join them. Come and join us. And don't think of winning the next election so that you poo-poo every program that we present to you. MDC has come to stay. And you remain in opposition with this attitude for a longer period of time. So, Mr. Speaker, this very positive information given to us. When we met at the committee, all of them praised the minister that it is about time we support this administration to succeed. If NBC succeeds, Ghana will succeed, and MP people will benefit. So, Honorable, you started it, you couldn't achieve anything. Governance is continuing. I do agree with you, but this is the time we are yielding a positive result. We are not using money to dig holes in the name of cathedral. No, we are putting the money where our mouth is. So please, Mr. Speaker, the traceability thing Honorable Afo talked about, they are saying because of the growth board that we put in place, Galamsey activities will increase. Whether we have growth board or not, people will still do Galamsey. So let's find a lasting solution to deal with the Galamsey menace. That's another matter. So growth board is giving us the positive result. Let's all embrace it, support the finance minister, so by the end of the day, Ghana will develop any shock, we can sustain it. We can't run to IMF every time to borrow money and pay interest. Mr. Speaker, I still have 15 seconds. So, Mr. Speaker, this is very welcoming news. Let's all embrace it. And I'll conclude by saying,
Honorable members, I'll proceed to give the floor to Dr. Amin. Honorable members, I don't want any confusion. This is the list you've given me, and I'm going by the list.
I give you information.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the discussion on the report. Mr. Speaker, as my colleague Honorable Opon said earlier, we are not against any policy to support reserve accumulation, because we know that it will help build the resilience of the economy. Yes. And so for that matter, we support this policy, except that as a responsible opposition, we need to bring out areas we think are flawed so that the minister can address those areas to improve on this policy and its implementation. First of all, as far as reserves are concerned, this is not the first time we have built reserves beyond the traditional benchmark of 3 months of import cover. The traditional benchmark of 3 months of import cover was exceeded by us in 2024. In fact, we achieved 4 months of import cover. Yes. 4 months of import cover, amounting to $9.6 billion United States dollars. And so, if they are able to go beyond that, that is an improvement we must acknowledge. But to say that this is the first time you are going beyond the traditional 3-month benchmark, it is not true, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having said this, the report indicates that under this program, the government will target to buy 127 tons of gold annually from small-scale miners. That is worrying for me, because even at lower volumes, they couldn't achieve their target from traceable gold. They had to resort to buying gold from Galamsey operators. And this, His Excellency the President Mahama, alluded to this. And so with the level of volumes they are talking about, 127 tons annually from small-scale miners, I am afraid our environment is in danger. The lives of Ghanaians are in danger, because this government, as they have done before last year, will resort to buying these volumes of gold from Galamsey operators, and that is not good for our country. Mr. Speaker, the report also says that gold reserve-based accumulation can occur without distortions to the domestic market, but that cannot be true, because gold reserve accumulation or reserve accumulation in general is a balance sheet operation. And therefore, because of the volumes they are talking about, we are going to see large injection of cedis into the market. But to maintain the levels of inflation we have today, the Bank of Ghana will have to go back using sterilization to withdraw or mop up this liquidity again. This certainly will lead to distortion. Apart from this, sterilization has a cost. And with the level of volumes we are talking about, the cost of sterilization is going to be very high. And that will lead to losses at the Bank of Ghana. If you are bringing a policy to accumulate reserve, we should have a policy that will not lead to losses at the Bank of Ghana, because when you do that, it distorts the balance sheet. And this is why I do not agree with them when they say that you can do gold-based reserve accumulation without distorting the domestic market. Mr. Speaker, in this report, they also sought to do comparison between the money that was borrowed to accumulate reserve between 2017 and 2024, which they said was done at a cost of $3.8 billion. Mr. Speaker, this was interest cost. But today, they are seeking to compare that with the losses that the gold board recorded when they were selling gold. The losses that occurred at the gold board as a result of their transaction was 214 million United States dollars. Interest costs cannot be compared with losses. The reality is that the 214 million US dollars resulting from the $10 billion gold board brought were losses, and the IMF alluded to this. And so you cannot compare that with interest costs from the borrowing which was done to build reserve under our government. And so, Mr. Speaker, the government must be truthful and they must be transparent, and they must not seek to deceive the people of Ghana using numbers. The contexts are different. One is interest costs, the other is losses. Mr. Speaker, the minister, through this policy, is also...
Honourable Member, your time is up. I now give the floor to Ata-Issa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Let me begin by making this correction that Gold Board did not make any loss in 2025. Let me thank the Minister of Finance for this bold policy initiative. They did not make any loss for 2025. Mr. Speaker, I hope my time will be... Okay. So, Mr. Speaker...
The timekeepers, please stop his time. Please stop his time. You know we are not taking any point of order. We want to have an interrupted debate. So, please, let the debate flow. On either side, I was not taking point of order. So, let his time resume. Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This policy is a shift from a debt finance reserve accumulation that we are used to in the past to a commodity anchor reserve accumulation through the gold board. The objective, like it is already stated in the report, is to ensure that in the next 3 years we achieve 15 months of import cover by 2028. The idea of using the buffer building strategy is aimed at exchange rate stability, inflation control, debt sustainability, and external shock resilience. For a commodity-dependent nation like Ghana, I think this is strategically significant for us. There is nothing wrong with associating yourself with good policies. So let's not blame the NPP if they want to gain some of the credit that we are having. But it must be backed by data and facts. Let's look at the past regimes, your effort in terms of reserve accumulation. And Mr. Speaker, the external borrowings through Eurobonds alone, between 2018 to 2021, Ghana issued $11.025 billion in Eurobond market at 7.6 to 9.6% interest. This resulted in high interest payments, increased external debt, vulnerable to global financing lightening, eventual debt distress, and reserve were accumulated in terms of debt, increased debt. Number two, the short-term FX instruments that they use in terms of increasing the reserve, in 2022 to 2024, they use swaps, sales and buybacks, short-term facilities and raised 5.65 billion accumulated cost. In interest alone, they paid 1.16 billion United States dollars in interest. This created a rollover risk, hidden quasi-fiscal costs, and artificial reserve deals. In fact, that's what you always talk about when you say the gold board is artificial. This is what you did through the swaps by costing this country 5.6 billion United States dollars in terms of short-term debt. Mr. Speaker, on commercial borrowing as a result of an artificial way of making sure that we build our reserves, MPP borrowed money from JP Morgan Chase, Standard Chartered, Citibank, and they borrowed an amount of $2 billion became a cost to this country. In an attempt to build reserve, they incurred $2 billion as interest costs to this country. Mr. Speaker, in portfolio inflows, in 2017, the famous Franklin Templeton 2.25 billion United States dollars, we ended up by paying 7.3 billion Ghana cedis in interest. So any attempt you people made in terms of reserve accumulation, you incurred costs to the Ghanaian public. Mr. Speaker, why does this one differ from the others? First of all, we are moving from the debt financing to commodity financing, which is now the global trend. Go to Russia, Australia, and many other countries are moving from debt financing instrument to commodity financing instrument. And I hear them saying that we depleted 50% of the gold reserves in our banks, with Bank of Ghana. You don't keep natural resources forever. You do spotting and hedging properly. If imagine that we had kept the gold at $5,000 and today it's sold at $500, what would be the value of the solid gold? So we are moving from the debt finance to asset-based accumulation to we are also reducing the interest burden that these people bedevil this nation with. Borrowing or building reserves with an annual rate of 7 to 9% external borrowing cost. Speaker, we are successful with this our reserve accumulation policy because of the following. Because of the strong macroeconomic stability that we are gaining. If you look at the reserves, it rose from about 9.11 billion to 13.85 billion United States dollars. CD appreciated by 40.7%. That guarantees stability. We also see inflation falling from 23.8% to 5%, in fact, currently 3.8%. And then debt fell from about 61.8% to about 45%. So what exactly are you saying that it is your policy? In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, gold purchases or domestic gold purchase program is not an MPP policy. In fact, since central bank work...
Honorable member, your time is up. Your time is up. It's now the turn of Honorable Gideon Bako.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, it is important we are talking about reserve accumulation through commodities, i.e. gold, at this time, because as we all understand, history has taught us that from President Kufuor's time, where Ghana made its first appearance in the Eurobond market, all successive governments, from Professor Mills to President Mahama to Nana Akufo-Addo, have gone to the Eurobond market. So until we got the knowledge and understanding to use gold to back our currency and our reserves through the instrumentality of the former Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, previous government had resorted to the Eurobond market to accumulate reserves. Mr. Speaker, it is important to stress that the lowest rate of interest for entering the Eurobond market by Ghana was realized during the period of the previous government, and during the period of the NDC government, we had higher rates of interest. So if anybody has a cause to worry as to how much interest Ghana had incurred or paid as a result of patronizing the Eurobond market, that was recorded during the period of the NDC. Mr. Speaker, it is important that as we are discussing this reserve accumulation, we understand what this policy stands on. This policy stands on two main pillars. One, gold to be bought by Bank of Ghana in reserve, that is gold for reserves, and then gold to be bought and then changed into dollars, that is gold for reserves. Mr. Speaker, this reminds you of what has happened before. This gold policy, accumulation policy, mutatis mutandis. It's the same as the gold for reserve policy that was instigated under the period of the NPP. What has changed? What has changed in actual sense is how this government intends to do that. And I have a fundamental problem with that. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about reserve accumulation and reserve management. That falls directly under the purview of the Central Bank of Ghana. But what do we see today? This policy is presented to this House by the Finance Minister. This is clearly a breach, an administrative overreach. We are seeking to capture the mandate of the independence of the Central Bank, and that is not true, right? Mr. Speaker, if you go through this policy and you read paragraph 43(1), it talks about the fact that there's going to be a central committee that will be chaired by the Minister of Lands and the Minister of Finance. It does not even give the Central Bank, that has the sole mandate for reserve accumulation and reserve management, a seat at the top of this committee. This is not right, Mr. Speaker. Again, this report also talks about the fact that the gold shall only be sold by the Central Bank subject to prior approval of Cabinet and Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this is not right. This is administrative overreach. The gold that is going to be kept by Ghana as reserve is the direct mandate of the Central Bank of Ghana. I understand and I know there's an attempt by this government to capture the resources of the state, and this government is doing that through this policy. We should not allow, Mr. Speaker, for the executive arm of government to dictate the part of our reserve accumulation and decide when and how our reserves must be sold for forests in this country. That is perfectly not right. Mr. Speaker, it is also important that as we talk about this whole document from page 1 to the end, when you go to the content, it allocates costs and benefits to be treated under page 19 and 20. Mr. Speaker, I have gone through this document. There is not a single mention of how much this is going to cost the people of Ghana. We need to know. And Mr. Speaker, come to think of it, who is talking about reserve accumulation? There is a tree orthography that kwaso bema wontoma TND to wait. If the naked man promises you a clothes, you need to listen to the name of that. This government, this very government, came to meet reserves of over $9 billion. They came to meet gold accumulation reserve of over 32 tons. They sold 18 tons plus $10 billion of gold through gold board. That adds up to $12 to $13 billion. Mr. Speaker, out of this $10 to $13 billion, only $4 billion is realized in our reserves. Only $4 billion is added to our reserves. Where is the gold? Where is the forest? Where is the reserves? So today, if you come back to tell us that we should give you mandate to buy gold for reserves, what is the trust? Where is the credibility? The ones you came.
Yes, leadership.
Mr. Speaker, we will yield to Senior Honorable Kobe.
Yes, Honorable Kobe, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this program, rightly as said, is an MPP program that the NDC is trying to capture and claim and also hide their own inefficiencies in this program. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, we all know what has gone on with this program under the NDC, with the large losses of over $240 million to the state. Mr. Speaker, one key area that I want to dwell on is the issue of the sourcing program. First and foremost, we are told about bonuses and discounts. And the question I want to ask on this program is, why is government paying discounts and bonuses? First and foremost, if anybody is buying gold from any market, all you do is that the person paying money because he's buying large quantities is given a discount, more as a profit. And when he sells the gold outside, he also makes profit. So why, in this case, government of Ghana under the gold board is paying discount to somebody who is actually selling the gold to him. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, this is criminal. And I believe that they want to use this policy to authorize that criminality and that illegality. Mr. Speaker, it is very fundamental that if this is a public policy, this is going to be a cost to the state. And it is one of the reasons why we lost $214 million. So, Mr. Speaker, if this is a policy, that part should be struck out of this business. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana and the government is clearly a monopoly. They set the prices. And if they are setting the prices, under what circumstances are they setting prices to make losses and go and pay another bonus? Clearly, this is criminal, and we need to look at it and take it and strike it out of this policy. Mr. Speaker, going forward, we are also being told that there's going to be a traceability mechanism. So far in the last 1 year, they've not done any traceability, clearly showing their incompetence and inefficiency in managing this program. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the target is to buy a minimum of 20 billion worth of gold every year. Where is the money coming from? Is the governor going to print money to pay for it, or Ghanaians are going to be taxed to pay for it? Because the first budget that was read by Honorable Atuforsen, he made mention was going to make available in excess over 200 million to the gold board to be buying the gold, which meant that that was going to come from our taxes. So far, it has not been indicated anywhere here where those monies are going to be coming from. So I believe that, Mr. Speaker, if the NDC has a major agenda to accumulate gold, nobody stops them, because the fundamentals of that gold purchase program had already been laid for both for forex and also for reserves. So, Mr. Speaker, if the NDC want to be accumulating gold, what is their track record? Last year, we did 4 months of import cover for reserves. They've only added 1.6. 1.6. So if you are looking at their record for the next 3 years, we are only looking at 10 months of import cover and not the 15. So I believe that they only brought these documents to us so that they can be seen to be doing something, and they can hide under it and be paying these bonuses and the discount to themselves and go and share. This clearly, if you are not careful, is going to lead to create loot and share. And we have to be very careful with the policy we are implementing. We need to take that part out of this policy. We need to take that part out, because the market, when it works so well, and it has been working so well, and we cannot allow officialdom to be added to this document to protect that criminality that we suspect is going to come from this paper. So, Mr. Speaker, as for policy, we know that the governor of Bank of Ghana has the right in determining monetary policy. We also know that the Bank of Ghana has a developmental responsibility as well. They've been doing it already. So there's nothing new under the sun that this policy is bringing, apart from giving us some fantasy for us to quickly get hooked onto it, and they will use their discount and their artificial bonuses to create loot and share. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Majority Leadership. Yes, Majority Leader. Very well. Honorable Lampemnyako.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity and to thank honorable members for their contribution in support of this wonderful policy. I have listened to them, and clearly one theme runs through their contributions. They all support this policy. That is the most important thing. As to trying to take credit about the genesis of this policy and all that, I wouldn't have wanted to dwell on that, but Mr. Speaker, you see, since Ghana became Ghana, we have always used gold to support our reserve accumulation. So it has always been the case that Ghana would use gold, would use cocoa to build reserves. So when you say that during your term, you use gold to build reserves, nobody has said that that never happened. What we are doing today is to introduce a clear policy that will have a coordinated means to build reserves to an unprecedented levels that Ghana has never seen before. That is the difference. And Mr. Speaker, I listened to them. I just want to respond to a few of the things that they said. My friend Gideon Boako was questioning why the committee that will lead in the preemption of the gold is chaired by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and not the governor. Mr. Speaker, this House passed the Minerals and Mining Act, and we passed the Gold Board Act. In fact, Section 7 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 says the minister has the right of preemption of all minerals raised. The authority to invoke the preemption right is given to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So you cannot bypass him and go and give the power through a policy to any other person apart from the person who has been given that authority by the laws of this land to do so. So that is as simple as that. And he also questioned why we are recommending. Mr. Speaker, he also questioned why we are recommending through this policy that if we decide to liquidate gold that is purchased through this program, it should go through cabinet and come to parliament. It is to enhance transparency and to allow Ghanaians to have a say in the assets that we are going to accumulate. Are you not happy that we are bringing it to parliament? So we, those who are calling for better transparency, for people's representatives to actually have a say in how we do this, you are now turning back to question us. And Mr. Speaker, in fact, we don't want to do anything in secrecy. We want to do it feely. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, another thing that they mentioned was that it is because we want to do state capture. Everybody in this country knows the regime that wanted to practice state capture in this country. So you cannot describe us as a regime that is interested in state capture. Mr. Speaker, I heard others also mention a name here, that this policy was introduced by Dr. Bawumia. Mr. Speaker, not too long ago, we heard somebody saying he was the driver's mate and that he was not responsible for anything that happened within the 8 years. Today, you are trying to mention the driver's mate's name, that he's becoming the driver. No, don't do that. Don't do that because it will not wash. Mr. Speaker, let me come to the substantive issues. Mr. Speaker, if you look at this policy clearly, it is a gold-led reserve accumulation policy. It is not focusing only on gold. And in fact, if you look at page 18 of the policy, you see that the government will deepen structural reforms that expand foreign exchange inflows while reducing persistent FX outflows. And we have listed a number of things. Enhancement of non-traditional exports. Cocoa sector recovery. Today, cocoa prices have plummeted.
Honorable Deputy Minister, your time is up.
No, leadership. Mine is not 5 minutes. Leadership. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable member, your time is up.
Oh.
Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, Absolutely, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and accordingly, this House approves Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy, GANRAP 2026 to 2028. Honourable members, we have sat beyond 5 hours, fortified by Standing Order 56, Standing Order 56-2. I will proceed to adjourn the House. The House is accordingly adjourned till Friday, 27th February 2026 at, yes?
Mr. Speaker, you know, when we're about to present the business statement, we didn't really have a lot of MPs in the chamber. So we had agreed that when we're about to adjourn, we will draw the attention of members to the attachment to the business statement dealing with SONA, because there are some updates there regarding when members should be in the chamber. And the update is that we should all be in the chamber not later than 8:30 a.m. And that if you don't enter the chamber before 8:30, if the president arrives, you will not be allowed into the chamber. And the president is going to be on schedule. And so that is something that I thought must be communicated to members. And those who are not here, please share with them. I have a screenshot of this I've put on the platform of the majority caucus. I will urge my colleagues opposite, if you can also screenshot the update. It's attached to the business statement. Update on SONA. 8:30. And then, make a copy available to members on the platform so that even those who are far away will make sure they get here. Also, members are urged to go through security screening before, because the president is coming into the chamber, and then many other, dignitaries, ambassadors, and etc. are coming in. Former presidents are coming in. There's a decision that even members will be screened. So members are going to go through the security screening like any other person. So that is going to happen. Screening of members will definitely take place. And then also the parking of vehicles. Where we normally park our vehicles, that's the MP's car park, will not be available. If you all recall, that's when the security agencies rehearse and then finally, troop to the frontage of the chamber block for the guard of honor. So that park will not be available. You're all entreated to park at the space by the member center. The space by the member center. That's where the tent is. So we should all park there. And then also the speaker's lobby. The speaker's lobby is out of coverage area tomorrow. No member of parliament is permitted into the speaker's lobby tomorrow. It's just the speaker's lobby tomorrow. So please, let's not allow members to, members should take note that the speaker's lobby, where the speaker meets and then proceeds into the chamber, that area is out of coverage area for all members of parliament tomorrow. I think those are the main guidelines for tomorrow, and I thought to communicate this before you adjourn the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Majority Leader, if you say members should be seated by 8:30, then that needs to be communicated to the Marshal Department so that they will actually open the chamber early so that members will actually come and sit. But Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader, by Majority Leader, if you are saying we should do all this preparation and all this arrangement for the state of the nation, we already know the state of the nation, that there is haircut to cocoa farmers, that there is unemployment,
that we are suffering in this current. That's the current state of the economy. So electricity prices are skyrocketing. People cannot buy electricity. And all that. So I don't think that
you are completely out of order.
If we are inviting the cocoa
The
farmers
House is
tomorrow
accordingly
to also
adjourned
listen
till
to the true
Friday,
state of the
27
nation.
February 2026 at 8:30 in the forenoon.
Oh no, it's fine.
we have in terms of security, and also all the assurances that is given us, people will see that indeed he came to continue on the legacy of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
As a member of parliament and with the majority caucus, I'm expecting the president to highlight the achievements chalked so far in our 1 year stay in government, and also let Ghanaians know the way forward, the major plans he has for Ghanaians as far as the economy is concerned, our currency, our agri sector, especially our oil, and our going to work up what we expect. I am a member of the Youth and Sports Committee, and so I want the president to touch on our upcoming World Cup qualifying or World Cup in US, Canada, and Mexico. I know he's going to give Ghanaians a touching statement, and as a member of parliament, I'm expecting to see positive come this 2026.
I expect the president on Friday to tell Ghanaians how come we have 8 Ghanaians perishing in Burkina. That obviously is something that is very worrying. We all know the terrorist activities in Burkina, but never in the history of Ghana have we seen this good number of people, perishing in a foreign land, going to do or transact business. Again, we have a very burning issue on the table, which has to do with the issue of cocoa farmers. Never again in the history of this country have we subjected our cocoa farmers to such humiliation and such, for want of a better word, telling them that which has been the backbone of this economy is no more on the front burner. I mean, we've not treated our cocoa farmers fairly. We tell them we give them X amount of cedis per ton, and then we get to power, and then we do otherwise. I believe these things are not good, and they do not augur well for the forward march of our country, because we all know that this country has been sustained by cocoa farmers for ages. And if at this point we are beginning to treat cocoa farmers this way, all in the name of resetting the cocoa industry, I'm sorry, this can never be a reset in the positive direction. And I don't think Ghanaians and cocoa farmers are ready to listen to this. Again, we expect His Excellency the President to tell Ghanaians how much they've been able to use to show up the dollar. We need to know, because from what the experts are telling us, we seem to be pushing more money and not getting the desired result. Because one will believe that if the dollar is down and prices of certain commodities are down, the final consumer, the Ghanaian people, must benefit. But that is not the story. You go to the market and the story is different. And so we have a dollar that is seeing a downward trend, but then you go to market and then prices of goods are going up. Obviously, this is not something that we can be proud of as a country. Yes, if the dollar is down, the final consumer, the Ghanaian, must benefit. We expect the president to come to us and tell us exactly what is it that he is doing in his reset agenda. Again, we expect the president on Friday to tell Ghanaians exactly what they mean by the 24-hour economy. We want the president to tell us exactly what he is doing with teacher licensure exams. The promise was that they were going to cancel it. We are being told that they are going to as it were, take an exam. Well, we want to know what is happening. Again, in the last budget, the Minister for Education made the entire country to know that he was going to employ 60,000 people, 50,000 being teachers and 10,000 being non-teachers. We expect His Excellency the President to let us know where we stand with all these promises. These are things that really are critical to the forward march of our people. I have come to believe that no longer can we take the Ghanaian people for a ride. I believe that on Friday the president will come and tell us all the steps he's taking to fulfill the many promises he gave to Ghanaians before winning power. We will be all ears. We will want to listen to the president. And then when that is said, we will come back and possibly, if the president is able to to give the real state of the Ghanaian economy, hallelujah. But if he's unable to do that, we, the minority, will come and tell Ghanaians the real state of the Ghanaian economy.
My expectations are enormous because I know that even though he was given the mantle for just 1 year now, let me put it in that perspective. However, the way and manner he has managed the country, most especially the economy and the stability that we are all enjoying, I expect that he goes down to tell us where we came from, where we have gotten to, and where we want to get to. I know this is what the president is coming to tell us. In fact, the issues concerning Galamsey, I know he will talk about it because I believe strongly he has put things in place to manage that sector of the economy very well, which is also showing part of our national discourse, as it were. So for me, I expect the president to touch on all angles of the economy, including even issues that borders international activities.
My expectation for the State of the Nation address by His Excellency, the President John Dramani Mahama, for this Friday, we know what Ghanaians are crying for. Ghanaian farmers are crying, cocoa farmers are crying. Government has reduced the price for the bag of cocoa, and my ordinary farmers in Kumawu are complaining, and they want the government to reinstate the price of the cocoa, as was promised them some time back during the election campaign. So that is what Ghanaian farmers are looking for. That is what cocoa farmers are looking for. Then again, the rising cost of living is something that Ghanaians are expecting our president to talk about. We had so many promises during the campaign season, and Ghanaians want to see that reflect in their pockets. People are complaining about the high cost of electricity, about the high cost of water. Utility prices are going up every now and then, and ordinary consumers are complaining. The citizens are complaining. Mr. President, Ghanaians expect you to talk about measures you are putting in to mitigate the sort of hardship people are going through, especially people that are unable to buy these electricity credit, these people that are not able to pay their water bills, and that is what Ghanaians are looking out for in this Friday State of the Nation. Ghanaians are also asking for the high cost. Now we talk about inflation coming down to single digits, and even the last reported inflation rate was around 3.8, but then people are not seeing that reflect in their pockets. People are not seeing that reflect in the prices of goods in the market. You go to the market and the prices keep going up. Meanwhile, inflation keeps coming down. So Ghanaians want to see some real explanation coming from His Excellency. And that is what we are all looking up to this week, this Friday, that the president will speak about. Then again, we are talking about insecurity within various communities. And that is what Ghanaians are expecting that the president will speak about. The security measures you are putting in place to assure our citizens that they are safe and secured wherever they are. Ghanaians are waiting to hear something coming from His Excellency, the President. Ghanaians have high expectation this Friday, and I'm just hoping that the President will be able to speak to the ordinary Ghanaian to understand. Now, access to healthcare is a major thing. Just today, leader on Charles, and Ghanaians are worried. What is the state of our access, the right to health of every Ghanaian citizen? That is something the president should be speaking to. We expect the president to talk about what was left over from the previous administration when it comes to Agenda 111. What measures is the government putting in place to ensure that most of these facilities that the previous government started are completed and Ghanaians are able to benefit from these facilities? That is what Ghanaians are expecting His Excellency to talk about, and not just the ordinary politics of making promises every now and then. We want to see assurance coming from His Excellency as he promised.
We are expecting that the president, again, when he comes, he will indicate to us where he has taken us to. Because in the last year's State of the Nation address, he committed himself and said that yes, even though the challenges are daunting, we will turn them around. And I think this State of the Nation address will tell us how far we have gotten to. Let's take the issue of inflation. As of last year, inflation was around 23%. As we speak now, it's a single digit, around 3% thereabout. What is our GDP now, and what did we inherit the other time? So I think the foundation has been laid now, and then he will tell us where we are moving to. There are other initiatives like the Akukon Kitinkiti, the Jumaura, Women's Bank, where we have reached. And I think the achievements are so enormous that I can't actually sit here just within short time and enumerate them. But I'm very sure the achievements in the agri sector, in the city depreciation, and the city appreciation. Our city was just nothing to write home about. But today, the city is very strong against the major currencies, and which is a very big achievement, has brought relief to many Ghanaians. Food prices are low, even though farmers are complaining. The cost of living is now far, far better than the previous year.
From His Excellency the President, we have one dated 10 February 2025. It reads, Right Honorable Speaker, nomination of Acting Administrator of District Assembly Common Fund. In accordance with Article 2524 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992, I submit through you to Parliament for approval the appointment of Mr. Michael Harry Hampson as the Acting Administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund. The nominee's credentials and records of service demonstrate his competences to support the government's agenda and serve the people of Ghana effectively. Attached is a copy of curriculum vitae. I accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. The second one is dated 11 February 2025, and it reads, Mr. Speaker, Ministers of State of the Cabinet, in accordance with Article 76(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992, I am submitting herewith for your attention the attached list of names of Ministers of State of the Cabinet. Accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable members, may I now invite the Honorable Majority Leader and the Honorable Minority Leader